Today I'm going to talk about love bombing and how 6 different types of behavior can all look like love bombing. And the reason I'm doing that is because most of the videos are really taking outside of you this identify that, oh my god, these are the psychos and there are these people who are just out there like predators and hunting people, and it can make you um really fearful of relationships. But in reality, you can ground yourself if you see relationships in a more realistic way, and this is what this video is intended to do. And at the very end, I'm going to give you 4 tips that you can do to see reality in a healthier way and have more fulfilling relationships. So let's get into it. So the very first one is actually you have to really think about the age you are and the age of the person, because if you are really young, look, this is just really being young, that people don't really stick around with people and they do lots of things and see what is working. But you cannot expect a teenager to be emotionally mature, because you are just testing life. And the same thing can happen with actually an older person, like in their 40s or 50s, if they didn't have enough experiences and maybe they married way too young and they are just not experienced. So it's not really about the age itself only, it's really about the emotional maturity, how they can handle a situation. The second one is that every relationship goes through this phase. And it's like when you meet a new person and the new person seems fun, it's just like, wow, this is so great, and you want to spend all your time together. And then later on, it naturally goes through a dip. And it's exactly the same even with the new job, that the new job looks so great and my new boss is so fantastic. And after a while, you are just like, oh, my boss is just such an awful person. Or you will see actually later on the problems as well. So this idea that you had in the very beginning is going to change, and you have to understand that anything is going to go through this curve. And in a relationship, you have to put the effort into things that when it starts to dip, both of you actually put the effort into restart the relationship. You cannot expect that, okay, we two meet together and then things are going to be fine together. It's like when you buy a house, you have to constantly improve it over and over, and the older the house becomes, the more investment it requires, and the relationship is exactly the same. The third one is when you are actually not a good match, but the partner you are going out with is actually a coward. Because what the person does, the person realizes that, I don't really like, or the relationship is not really for me, but they are too afraid to tell you that they don't like the relationship, and they are actually waiting around for you to push them away, because they are too afraid to do that. So they might actually ghost you a little bit, or just do certain things that you would end the relationship. The fourth one is going to be, it's generally the fearful avoidant, that the mixture of the anxious preoccupied and the avoidant attachment type, and they are also called the disorganized attachment type. And they can actually act in a way that in the beginning, like an anxious preoccupied, that they want to spend a lot of time with you, they cannot let you go, they are so into you, but at the same time they have this duality within them, that the very thing they want the most, they are the most terrified of. So it's like very, very, you don't really know, hot and cold, and that's when it can seem as well that they are up and down. And also at the same time, they lose interest very easily. So their feelings can be like this as well, that they are really into you, but they are not into you the following day. So their emotions are not stable enough. The fifth one is a more traditional type of person that, this is how men should behave, and this is how females should behave, and they see things as how things should be, what is the norm, what others do. So they are not emotionally engaged, and that's why they can see it, be seen as in the beginning they do a lot. So they do this dating phase that, I do all of these things for you, but as soon as mission accomplished, they got you, it's like they are not interested in you anymore, and they just go and do their job, because that's again that is how the social norm looks like in their head, that this is what a guy does at different phases of a relationship. And it's again not love bombing, it's just a wrong mindset. And the last one, the sixth one, is going to be the traditional love bombing, where the person is more like a hunter. It's like Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother with the playbook, that they just love the chase and they are never happy with the person they are with. They just love this idea that I'm going toward the person, but as soon as I achieve it, I have the person, I already want a different one. So this can look like also love bombing, but this is, I would say, this is exactly that one, that unhealthy one, that is really going to get as many people as they can get. It's more like they have like a badge for themselves, that every single time I achieve something, I feel really good about myself. And because they have been doing it for so long, they are really good at knowing what are the things they have to say exactly and what are the things they have to do exactly. So they are very, very skilled. But you have to really understand that most of these behaviors are unhealthy because they are unhealthy with themselves as well. So it's not only with you, because a secure person or an emotionally mature person would treat you nicer because they would treat themselves deep down nicer as well. So what do you see outside of you as a behavior, how they mistreat you? This is exactly they are with themselves as well. The first one is going to be, it's really like when you buy a car or anything, that look, if it seems too good to be true, then you have to really look into it, that maybe something is really fishy. And there is a trigger point that you have to really see, that if you feel emotional way too early, way too soon, you have to engage with your head, because when you are too emotional, that is going to override your head and you won't be able to see clearly. And the more emotional you get, the more difficult it is going to be to move away from the relationship when you realize that it's not healthy. And most of the time, this is what is happening, that you do know that something is wrong, but you are emotionally engaged in the relationship. And I know it from my own experiences as well. When we love a person, it's that, yeah, the head is kind of going away. The second one is you have to do your due and diligence. It's like going into a merger with another company or buying a car, buying a house. That in the beginning of a relationship, you have to really look into certain things that maybe you feel that, oh, I don't want to hurt the person, but you really have to look up now on the internet if the person is married, if the person has this or that, and you really have to see at least the very basics, who you are with, because many times, and it's true about so many people, that the other person lives a double life, and by the time they again realize that the person is in a relationship with someone else, they are just emotionally too invested. But today, now we can really check on the internet if the person is with someone else or not. The third one is going to be that instead of looking for signs and looking for the love bombing phase and if the person is a narcissist or not or whatever, you have to really look into one thing. How does an emotionally mature person looks like? How they behave, how they communicate, how they react in certain situations. And this is how you are going to match everyone to this one single kind of list. And it doesn't matter if he is a narcissist or if he is actually an empath or if he is whatever or she's whatever. You are only referring to this list that these are your needs, because these are the needs of a healthy relationship, an emotionally mature relationship that can work in the long term. And the very last one, the fourth one, is going to be that you have to get to know yourself, because what people do with these videos, like they start to focus really on the other person. Okay, I'm going to know, I've got a list, I'm going to just tick off things if he or she is this or that. But you have to really understand that whatever is within you, your brokenness, your wounds can make you actually blind to certain things, and you can misinterpret things. Even with faces, like when somebody smiles, certain people can read it completely differently compared to how they are wired. So a smile is naturally that, I really like you, I want to be friendly. But for some people, it's actually that, that person is making fun of me, sarcastic, joking. And then another person can be even that a person is threatening, or for another person that, that person wants to go in bed with me. So you have to really understand your own blind spots and your own wounds to really reconnect with this internal self. So the filters that you have towards other people is going to be more realistic, and also the filters you have towards yourself is going to be more realistic as well. See you in my next video.